Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Hi, Think Big community. My name is Samira Sabatini-Francois. I am currently a East Coastal babe. I live in Boston/Florida, so you can find me in either part of the town. I am a Haitian American entrepreneur, podcast host, and community builder.
Awesome. So I'm just curious about your background. If you can share more about your business and kind of how you got into entrepreneurship in the first place.
Yeah, great question. Honestly, though, entrepreneurship was something I would say too, like some people are born with it. I would say when I was younger, I was one of those people that was like selling candies and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the I Love Booby bracelets. It went like viral when I was younger. And so I would go to Journeys and Zoomies, I think is what it was called when I was younger. And I would go and buy those bracelets and I would sell them in middle school. So I would say that's kind of like what started my entrepreneurship journey. I was always like, how can I give back to the community? This was a need that the middle schoolers wanted. And I would say my entrepreneurship journey, I knew I was built for it when I was, say, about 13 years old. Going back today, being a first generation Haitian American, education is a really big part of my culture. My mom came to America at the age of 17, and despite our socioeconomic status where we grew up, she didn't want that to hinder us. So a big part, what she instilled in us is education first. So I'm a Boston College grad, and I knew when I was in college, I had a moment where I was like, I want to drop out. Believe it or not, I had an idea that was similar to TikTok. It was called Whirlix. And I was like, I'm going to drop out of school. But I knew what my mom sacrificed. So I went ahead and finished my degree at BC. So I would say, honestly, before I really got into my entrepreneurship journey, I have a really strong corporate background. So for all my corporate baddies out there, it's okay, right? I didn't have money to start a business, but I knew I needed to get a job, get into corporate, and become stable before I can really pursue those dreams. And I know that can kind of maybe relate to you, Dan, because I saw you had a social post where you took a big leap. You went to Austin and you know what it is. You took that leap. And before I was able to fully take that leap, I had to really sit back and was so I was an intern at Goldman Sachs. I worked at KPMG. So I really do have a really finance big four background. But it helped me really become stable so I could help and give back to my family. So I would say around 2023, I felt like there was a big need for the girls that love to dress nice and dress cute, but is balling on a budget. So that brings me to the origin of Fetch Fits. And it's essentially a peer-to-peer college destination for students to go ahead and rent, lend, and get things at a fraction of the price with all their college essentials. So for me, also was a broke college student balling on a budget. This is a platform for them to go ahead and list anything from fridges, outfits, to their textbooks and able to get it at a fraction of the price. So that's kind of long story short, it led me to this journey, but I think everyone's destination and their journey is different. I didn't have a linear path to entrepreneurship, but I knew it was built and instilled within me since I was at a young age.
That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. I was also in corporate for a while. I was a consultant as well. Worked for a small firm that was acquired by PwC, so kind of similar. I guess I'm curious in terms of your business, right? Because obviously, many college students, to your point, struggle with finances. It's very expensive to buy things. How does a platform work? Are they essentially just renting from other students? If I have a T-shirt or fridge or cooler, whatever item they can rent from students, or can they buy it products too? What is that actually like for you?
Yeah, so I would say for right now, we're in beta testing, and right now it's strictly clothing. The goal is to get into every single thing from mattress pads, because I paid $150 for one, and once I moved into a bigger room, have not used that mattress pad. And it was either trash, or even till this day, I was a COVID grad. That mini fridge that I bought, I have no idea where it went. I don't remember throwing it away, but these are all things that we are buying for short-term use, and we are buying the same things every year. And as an incoming freshman, they're buying the same things. So this is is a really great way to reduce waste and really push forward the sustainability aspect of it. But you can go ahead onto Fetch Fits. You can list your item. Right now it's clothing. You list it, you can put your price. So let's say, for instance, I'm wearing this blazer and let's say I got it. I'm putting this top of my head. I do not have the exact amount here, but let's say I bought this for $100. We recommend doing 20% of the retail price. So you could list this for $20 and then we make a commission off every item. So this is a volumes numbers in terms of how I get revenue, but we get a percentage of every single thing that is rented on the app.
Makes sense. And then in terms of partnerships, I mean, obviously when you're rolling it out, there are certain schools that you're starting with. So what does that kind of look like for you?
I would say that is you need to have grit, you need to have tenacity, and you need to get in people's face. Especially right now, it's summertime or just it's seasonal, but colleges, they're really busy. They have a lot on their plate. So their goal is not to push forward your business and your app. So you need to just be really tenacious, put yourself out there. I'm partnering now and launching at the University of Miami. And I had to go to a conference and I had to go to they have like an entrepreneurship center. They have even their school of business meeting with their professors. So it was really just, I don't want this to sound cliche, but networking goes a very long way and just like putting yourself out there and you can find somebody that aligns with your mission. And that's how I would say I secured partnerships. But again, there is thousands of universities and the goal is for Fetch Fits to be all over every single one of these college campuses and really pushing this mission forward. So from one university to the next, it's going to require lots of networking, a lot of putting myself out there. And sometimes you're going to get no's. It's a part of the game, but you can use that as fuel.
For sure. So at a place like Miami, what is your strategy? Are you going to be tabling once the school year starts? What does that kind of look like for you?
Yeah, so for a place like Miami, and again, a lot of schools are different, but at least Miami, they're really centered on wellness. There's a lot of tabling. There's a lot of sororities and fraternities. So partnering with a sorority is really a big part of our forefront, as well as tabling that we're going to be doing as well. And also, let's be honest, as a college student, any gift cards, any incentive to have a little something goes a long way. So really incentivizing students to go ahead and list their items, because once they see that they're making money, it's going to be kind of a trickle down effect from there. It's really doing different things to get students involved. We know nowadays kids, because I'm also a podcast host too, so kids, people, their attention spans, it decreased drastically. Just keeping that in mind, that you got to do things quick, efficient, fast, and things that are going to catch their eye.
Makes sense. In terms of catching people's eyes at a place are you going to be having, is it going to be you out there? Are you going to have your team out there? How are you going to actually besides giving gift cards, going out and talking to students?
Yeah, I started off, I would say, the spring semester interviewing students. I was doing the man on the street interviews, and that's kind of how I really started to put myself out there. There was also other local businesses that were there's food trucks. So partnering with other local businesses that students are lining up. There's this one matcha truck that everyone loves. Shout out Honeyvale. And students are lining up hours on end for this matcha truck. So doing things like that, incentivizing, hey, you get 10% off this matcha if you sign up for this app. So there's a lot of different strategic things. Sororities, we're looking at having a listathon where whoever lists the most, we give to their philanthropic. Every sorority has a philanthropic mission, if that makes sense. And so we would that philanthropic mission. So there's a lot of different tidbits that we're doing on campus that is getting the community involved, which they're already highly involved.
For sure. And I guess in terms of demographics, are you seeing it more resonate with women or men or people of a certain age? Obviously college students, but I guess what does that kind of look like in terms of where they are and what class you're in, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. Since it's right now, it's fashion and clothing forward. We are seeing a lot more women, and that's why we're partnering more with sororities right now. The goal is we want to change that notion, because men are creatures of habit, I would say. And they're kind of they're not somebody that cares to essentially ball on a budget as much. Till this day, my boyfriend, he'll go into the store, he won't look at the price and he'll just buy it. And I'm if you go to CVS, there's a ton of coupons. I'm no, use a coupon. You can get it for cheaper. So I'm trying to change this mission, because there's a lot of people that maybe want to flex, they want to look good, they want the Gucci belt, but you don't need to pay the Gucci price. You can rent it for the day, take your picture for social media, and voila, no one will know if it's yours or not. And you still get to look good, feel good at a fraction of the price. And trust me, we love to save a couple dollars.
For sure. And obviously that you're in a market where you do have competition. There's some big platforms like Stitch Fix, for example. So how do you kind of compete against these platforms?
Honestly, I think competition is a big part of any business. I think one, my missions aren't necessarily the same as well. I have a very niche target audience, just looking at college students is one. And two, I have a fetcher feature. So essentially, we love convenience. It's a big part of our day to day now with Uber, Uber Eats, so on and so forth. So we have this feature where a college student can come on, they can sign up as a fetcher. So maybe they are not a shopper and they're a male that want to make a couple extra bucks, they can pick it up from dorm A and drop it off to dorm B. So you can get that item within hours, right? We also have a handoff feature, which is free. So you don't need to pay through that convenience feature. You can go and meet up at a cafeteria or meet up at like a local point on campus. So this is just really ways to make things convenient. For instance, there's a concert going on. There's something that's happening on campus and you need something quick. This is a way to really combat that. And there's not a lot of apps right now that are solving that direct problem for college students.
Makes sense. So essentially that because you guys are all on campus, it can happen very quickly as opposed to your competition, it's going to take at least a few days for them to actually, get their product.
And especially now with tariffs, I know a lot of people, and when I was in college, I would love a good Sheen and I would love one of those, which is not sustainably great. But hey, I can say it, when I was balling on a budget, your girl needed Fashion Nova and she needed Sheen because that's what I could afford. But now they're taxing an egregious amount. Honestly, thank you, Donald Trump, even though I have my opinions about him, but this honestly is helping drive the business because why do I want to pay? Now people are going and when it's time to pick up their item, they're saying, oh, I need to pay $200 extra. That defeats the purpose of this cheap good, right? Now I can just rent for a fraction of the price. I can get it conveniently at my dorm within an hour, and it solves it real quick, and I can give it right back. Now with social media culture, once you get your picture, honestly, even this blazer after this interview, I'm like, do I need to wear it again? Probably not, at least not for a while.
Right, makes sense. So in terms of actually working with students, right, because obviously they have different types of products. So how do you kind of guide them about like which products actually go and list sick on your platform?
Yeah, so we have a list of different brands. We do really not like the Sheens, the Fashion Novas. That's not something that we push forward on the app, but brands that aren't necessarily accessible or maybe more expensive. Like for instance, this blazer that I'm wearing, if I wore it, it's collecting dust. I could easily rent it. So it's really incentivizing kids that this is something that you have it in your closet anyways. Why not make the extra money? So it's really changing that idea that like, hey, that $20 that you're probably going to spend on matcha or $30 on a Pilates class, you could easily make it on something that's collecting dust in your closet. I think what's really great is since it is college centered and the niche is very specific, right? Like every campus have their different trends. So one thing that I've noticed at being at U Miami, Goyard bags is a really big thing there. Wearing designer goods is a really big thing at U Miami. Wearing this item, maybe they don't want to wear it again, but you can now rent it and make some money off of it now.
That's awesome. So obviously now we're like at the halfway point here in 2025. So what are you really focused on for the rest of this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, not only with Fetch Fits, but also being like a community leader and podcast host, it's community, right? Whether it's through my entrepreneurship journey and building out Fetch Fits or being, I like to say, community builder. I think it's important no matter. I don't want to keep selling a business or down their throat, right? Yes, sales is the option, but I don't want it to feel like it's sales. I want it to feel like, hey, I'm improving your life. You're coming here and you are going to leave better by coming either through Fetch Fits or listening to Batty Besties or coming to my community events. I think that's my biggest thing is to feel like the way they came, they're leaving better. So whether if it's like more money in their pocket through Fetch Fits or they're feeling inspired through Batty Besties or maybe they're feeling refueled for my community events, you are leaving as a better person because you stopped and spent whether it's your 5 minutes with me or 30 minutes with me. I think that's the biggest mission that I have.
That's awesome. So if you could go back in time to before you started this business, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Ooh, you're going to be afraid. I'm still afraid. Do it anyways. Fear is natural when stepping into something that's new or challenging. Like, to be quite honest to you, corporate feels like my comfort zone. Like, honestly, I think when I come from corporate America, I'm like, okay, you got health insurance, you got, this paycheck every 2 weeks. But the key is to really push through that fear, right? Growth happens when you face uncertainty head on and you don't let fear hold you back. So feel the fear, push through the fear. You got it.
Awesome. That's really good advice. If somebody's watching this and if they wanted to reach out to you or to use your platform, do you mind sharing your website, socials, etc.?
Yeah, so for everyone listening today, you can find me at Samira Sabatini on Instagram. You can find me at fetchfits.io and at Batty Besties Pod. And my website, you can go check it out at fetchfits.io. Thank you guys so much. I hope you feel inspired and 1% better today.
Thanks, Samira.
Thank you.